Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here, of course, for Made in
Abyss, Episode 3.
And, yeah, we've got some good info. We've got a solid quest objective.
A very clear quest objective.
A very massive D&D style dungeon.
Yes, that just goes on forever.
And potentially a lost mother.
Yes.
Or maybe a mother that knows something at the bottom, waiting.
Even though she's already dead and they found her body.
See, I don't know why you said that.
But they found her whistle.
That doesn't mean they found her body.
Okay,
she left it
good
there
point.
for them.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And another way they could look at it, Jacob, is the idea that she's missing in action because she just decided to break away from the party.
They did say she was missing in action. They did not say she was dead.
That was one of the things I was trying to bring up last episode, and I think you kept trying to be like, well, she's dead. I'm like, no, it's like she might be, but she might not. And then we got the sealed document at the end, which basically confirmed, no, she's not dead.
Right. Unless she was talking about her spirit awaits her.
It would actually be pretty ominous if the whole thing is basically a story of maturation, the idea that she's waiting for her on the other side of death.
Oh.
Well, anyway, before we get into theory time, let's watch this episode and see what happens.
6層で雨宿り中に出くわしたこいつは卵のまま育つトカゲだ。この殻のおかげで鉄の雨もへっちゃららしい。
Iron
大王
Rain.
かぶりと呼ぶことにす
Wow.
る。
Okay.
7層を
That
間近
can
にした
happen.
ところで遭遇。人型の影、正体不明。先ほどからじっと私を観察している。
Interesting.
Yeah.
お前も私に見られているのだよ。大きさは人の子供くらい。
なんだい、草なんか掘っても虫しか出てこねえぞ。掘るなら隣の平べったいとこ。
Why is he
こ
digging?
れか？
Are they looking for artifacts, I guess?
おやおやおや。なっと、なんだこれは。丸っこくてふわふわしたものが。ああ、それもアビスの遺物だぜ。なんだかわかんねえけど。まだあるぞ。
Uh-oh.
I get the feeling this is gonna go badly very quickly.
Another skeleton.
あれは。ああ、お祈り骸骨だな。
Of someone in
2000年
prayer.
前の遺物なんだとよ。
Unless
みんな
that's the
こ
same
の
one.
のぜ。
All of them are posed the same way.
And it's from 2,000 years ago. Skeletons don't last that
そう
long.
いやさ、こんな噂聞いたことある？
Here we go, the
誕
legend.
生日を楽しみにしてた子供たちがな、その誕生日に次々と死んでいくんだ。奈落の底に答えがあるというやつだ。これ
Yeah.
ら異物の正体やアビスの呪いの原因、ひょっとしたら僕が作られた意味やここに来た理由も、
Cool.
それら全部がアビスの底にたどり着ければ見つかるんじゃないか。そんな気がしてるんだ。
There's so many metaphors to that
Oh, yeah.
line of questioning, too.
どうかしてんぞ。初めての探掘でも僕の記憶は戻らなかった。
Yeah.
そうなると手がかりはやはり。レグ、待ってって。ナト。レグ。どうした？
He's tired, man.
呪いだよ。
Oh, he's gonna vomit, yeah.
お前本当に平気なのな。めちゃくちゃペース速いし。それで出発する日とか決めてあるの？
出発は明日の夜明け前にする。
え？
もう荷物もまとめてあるの。
ずいぶん早いんだね。でも一体どうやってアビスに潜り込むつもり？いつも見張りがいるのに。
それは
That's a great question.
僕が腕を伸ばして運ぼう。は？リコ、奈落の底まで僕も一緒に行く。僕が決めた。自分が何者なのか知るために行きたいんだ。
You're such a good friend.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way she wanted to go down by herself. Oh.
僕を見つけたのは君じゃないか。 僕は一度アビスを登りきってるんだろ。記憶は戻らなくてもこの頑丈な体がある。奈落の底まで君を守ろう。
最新の奈落見取り図だよ。
Oh, sweet.
すごいシゲ、勝手に持ってきちゃったの？
リコが本気でアビスに挑もうとしてるんだ。院長室に忍び込むぐらいわけないよ。
Oh my
アビス
gosh.
の今の姿
That's incredible.
Yep, so that's
1350
from the
までが
opening,
深海
okay.
一層アビスの淵。
Oh,
Okay.
gotcha,
生き
first
物の
layer,
環
so
境
it's
は
not
そ
just
んなに
by
変わらないけど、
100 meters or...
餌を取りに来る2層のもいるから油断は禁物だよ。森はそのままネズミ返しになって逆さ森に入るよ。気流はすごく不安定だし、空の猛獣もいっぱいいるから気をつけて。
Whoa.
深海3層大断層。
The Great
立ちは
Fault.
だかるのは4000メートルを超える垂直の崖。
Holy
深
crap.
海4層。行けるのは黒笛以上だけ。深度は約7000メートル。ここは巨人の杯と呼ばれている。
Whoa.
深海5層亡骸の海。白笛だけの世界でここから戻ってきた人
I wonder
は数え
why.
るほどしかいないよ。帰らずの都。
Whoa.
白笛が6層に降りることはラストダイブって呼ばれる。二度と帰ってこられないから。
白笛以外が6層より下に行ったことってあるのかい？
あったかもしれないね。で
Yeah.
も白笛以外でアビスから情報を飛ばしても
Oh, balloons.
それはた
That's
だの噂止まり
genius.
なんだ。アビスの呪いで錯乱したり正気を失っている可能性があるから。
Yeah.
Okay.
だけど白笛の声が届いたらそれは事実になる。
Ah, here they go.
Yep.
荷物と着替え下ろしたぞ。
ありがとう。これなら誰だかわからないかな。
多分ね。
ところでナットは？
ナッ
Oh, no way.
ト多分今
He's...
は
あんなやつ知らない。
ナットも
What if
心
he's
配になり
getting
す
the
ぎちゃっ
adults
た。
because he doesn't want her to
なん
go?
だ。
シギーもやるかい？
僕は自分で降りるよ。
シギーすまない。やり残したことがある。先に出てくれ。
いいけどくれぐれもリーダーにだけは見つからないでよ。
ナットいない。
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
リコたちの
He's going to
Yep.
get the teachers. Yep.
キウイキウイ
なに？
お別れを言いに来た。具合が悪いのか？そういえば最近ずっと眠そうだったな。
あさって誕生日。
そうか。お祝いまでに良くなるといいな。リーダーこそこんな真夜中に。
バカ者、見回りだ。
You fool.
お
I'm
前
on
たちが
patrol.
寝静まった後、毎日やっている。リ
It's a
コを知ら
rough
ない
job.
Yeah, when
部
does
屋
he
にいない
sleep?
ようだが
リコはうんこをしに行った。
こんな夜中にか。
腹を下していた。
拾い食いか。まったくあいつは。
Also, he wasn't told by
お
Right.
前も便所に行くのだろう。ついていてやれ。
了解した。
oh,
Alright.
trust him.
That went pretty well.
壁外に入ったことないから助っ人を呼んでおいた。今日はよろしく。
この匂いは。
ナット、何してんの？
そのごめん。悪かったな昨日。
Yeah, she
That
says
was
it like
good.
she's angry.
Yeah.
あんなひどいこと言ったのに。
いいの。ねえナット、行くの賛成してくれたから手伝ってくれるんだよね。
反対だよ。
反対なの？
よかったぞナット、来てくれて。これでリコも僕も心置きなく手紙が出せる。
バーカ、一層二層ならともかくお前らの行くとこから電報線は届かねえぞ。
そうなのか。
たとえ白笛でも深部から地上に電報線が届く確率はものすごく低いんだ。
どうしたの？
いや、 リコにしては珍しくまともな妄想だなと。
ひどい。
Well, except for the
こ
whistle
こ
part.
もオースな
Yeah.
の？
岸壁街はね、洞窟してた人たちが作った場所なんだ。建て増しを繰り返した町の半分はアビスに食い込んじゃってるんだ。
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
声がでかいから。あとあんまキョロキョロすんな。
Rough part of town.
姉ちゃんが死んで身寄りがなくなって、それで孤児院に拾われたんだ。
僕が孤児院に入るとき、リーダーに話したやつだ。
That was his backstory.
ここのガキはみんなあの奈落門見ちゃ探掘家に憧れて。俺は運よく拾われたけど、そうじゃなきゃみんなゴミの毒で病気になるか死んじまうかだ。俺リーダーみたいに月笛になったらここに孤児院作りたくてさ。なんだよ、もうついちまった。
A welcoming.
やはりこいつはしっくりくるな。笛はどこに置いたっけ？なんだこれ。
Yeah, what is that?
これは
可能性はあると思うんだ。君にはオーバードがついてるし、電報線が届いたら僕は信じるからね。
リコ、あれ
What did he do?
俺
Did he betray them?
くしょいっぱいいっぱい考えたのに。
大丈夫。
Aww.
二度と会えなくてもアビスで繋がってるから。上にいても呪われた奈落の彼方にいても私たち
Aw.
アビスと繋がってるの。うるせえぞ。
やべえ、住人が起きた。
レグ急いで。
後でいいか。
What was that? You tease!
Can't do that.
You tease!
But he was casual about it, so it's probably not super important.
俺が取ってやるからな。
気をつけてね。すぐ戻ってきてもいいんだから。
リコのこと頼んだぞ。
了解した。君らも達者でな。
二人ともありがとう。
Hopefully that flimsy wood holds up.
闇すらも及ばぬ深淵へとその身を捧げ挑む者たちにアビスは全てを与えるという
Okay.
生きて死ぬ呪いと祝福のその全
Oh,
て
yeah. All of it.
旅路の果てに何を選び取り終わるのか決められるのは奈落の意志か
The will of
そ
the
れに挑む
netherworld.
者だけである
Okay, so here we go. Into the Abyss.
Yes.
This one I felt like was kind of the characters basically coming to grips with what this actually means.
Right.
Because just them going isn't the start of the adventure. It's them basically...
Yeah. It's
basically like the crossing the river Styx. It's the idea that
okay.
this is kind of a passage into death. The abyss is kind of metaphorically in the same way as it's potentially it's what holds the answers to all of Reg's questions.
Yeah, and since they're wanting to go to the bottom, not just quickly in and out.
Right, as set up by the world's premise.
Yep.
If you go down that far, you're basically dying. You will no longer come back up to this world.
Yeah, and because they set it up in that way, it's really important that they had an episode like this, or at least that they focused on the things that they focused on in this episode, because it makes that seem more real. If they had set that up where it's like, okay, if you go down, you're never coming back, and they just sort of were like, whatever, let's do it anyway.
Yeah.
That would have stunk of plot armor.
It would not plot armor. It's the idea that it would make the characters less believable. It's
yes.
Like you said initially, that it wouldn't be as believable. It's the idea that Riku has spent a lot of time with Nat and Shiggy and the people at the school and stuff.
Yeah.
And she's saying, this is more important to me. I need to go. I know it's hard.
Right.
But she's not putting on a tough face either. She's very much aware of everything. I think one of the things that's cool is that they act like kids, but then when they speak, they show an awareness that's beyond their years.
Right.
And it's clever because that's what they would get from their experiences.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's also limited in that it revolves solely around the abyss and the culture.
Sure. And they are still kids, so even while they'll have that extra awareness like you're talking about, there will still be the snot chain, you know.
That was so cute. 'Cause she's like,
and
gosh.
Gross at the same time.
It's so gross, but it's the idea that
but yeah,
none of her friends would have gone with her basically to die for her in this situation because they're kids. Come on, they've got their whole lives ahead of them.
Yeah.
But Reg basically found her as if almost by like fate.
Mm-hmm.
And them going down together as they're both on a search for answers.
Right.
It went into some really interesting metaphorical territory this episode because it really did feel like they were saying that the abyss is not just just a hole in the ground.
Right. It's a great way to sort of draw attention, even though it was through metaphors, to the whole idea that is often glossed over, or just not given enough focus, that when people go on the hero's journey, how are they supposed to know when or if they'll be coming back?
Right.
So it was really good to focus on that. And then at the same time, they're kids, so you're seeing how they actually deal with that, which is a lot. I get the feeling it's a lot more raw than if it were like, more grown up type people. Because then they try and put a face on it.
It would be more nuanced and subtle in that regard if they were adults.
Right.
Also, the idea that they had almost no resistance getting down there means that this next episode could be a rapid pace through the first section of the abyss that they're going through.
Yeah. Okay.
If they basically spend an episode focusing on a different aspect of the abyss as they go down until they get into some kind of, I would say, more plot-heavy territory,
right,
there could be quite a few beautiful episodes on their way.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea that this show wants you to hold the wonder and the terror in conjunction with each other at all times. Right. And right about now, they've been going back and forth between wonder, terror in the episodes themselves. Like, each episode has that little moment dedicated to, wow, we're going to go into the abyss, and then it's, but you don't know what you have to deal with. And then they have Shiggy providing us some very good world building as to what is involved in the abyss, but also the wonder of the things you will find and the terror. So what did you think about some of the stuff that Shiggy revealed in particular?
I did not realize that they had so much information on it. Yeah. I thought that, because that was a lot of stuff that we've been shown in like the opening or the ending. And I figured a lot of that was sort of impressionistic. Right. Sort of like be like, oh, mystery, all this stuff that's just strange and bizarre.
Right.
But I didn't expect them to actually know so much about it. I got the feeling that for some reason I got the feeling that the different layers or levels or whatever in the abyss were based on whether they're at the 100-meter mark, the 200-meter mark, or whatever.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know where you got that.
But I think it was because she was making such a focus on wanting to be a part of the 600ers.
Jeez,
but if
we made some really bad assumptions because like I didn't contradict you as much because I didn't want to be the person that's always kind of being like, no, I don't know if that's actually true, but I kind of did believe you a little bit. I was like, oh right, yeah, that was said at some point, but they've gone that far down already, below the broken city or whatever that was at the bottom,
right, the one after the Sea of Corpses.
Yeah. They could be getting close to the bottom of what would be like the Earth's crust in particular. Like they were talking about,
they were talking like 5,000 meters or something. So that's actually,
no. There was a point in particular where there was just a cliff that was 4,000 meters alone.
Oh, that's right.
See, you have to count it all up. We're getting closer to like 25,000 meters, and the idea is that I'll bet you. And what they've explored thus far, they're probably already about 20%, I would say at minimum, of the abyss's explored depth.
And then of course there's the whole idea that that's just when they get into the unknown territory, because just because people can't come back up from that depth doesn't mean they just die when they get to that depth.
Right.
There could be a whole ton of people down there that have just decided, all right, we'll die if we go back up, so we'll just stay here.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, well, they're exploring still. That would actually be very interesting, is the idea that
they're leaving it behind for any other people that come.
Well, no. Think about it. Let's say they find a means of, survival, water, food, shelter. Okay.
Sure.
They could go down multiple levels and bump into people still currently exploring.
Yeah.
It's the idea that, oh yeah, you're exploring. We are too. Why do you have red whistles? No reason.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys should go back up before you go to
what are those whistles? Like, you have whistles. What are those?
No. That's way deep if we're going down that regard. I'm talking like on the way down to the super deep parts.
Oh, sure.
They'll meet other explorers. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But the idea that the abyss being largely unexplored was something I think I kind of assumed as well, was very much debunked in the fact that at least for a decent amount of depth, there have been people sent up and down a lot in those areas. And there probably have been a lot of people that didn't necessarily make it back in one piece or in the same state.
Right. Which will be interesting to see how they handle that.
Right.
Like, okay, so this show's one core. Mm-hmm. So we're about 25% of the way through.
Right.
And they've just started going into the abyss.
Right.
So I get the feeling they could take a while before they get to this stuff that's actually like really dangerous. I mean, there's a lot
I agree.
of like there was dangerous stuff in the first episode.
Yeah.
But, like I get the feeling this might be going for a lot more of the slow burn approach.
See, I think that's what,
but I'm not sure.
That's what we're being led to believe by individual episodes in this second and third part.
But then it's gonna
think about the first episode.
Where,
you want to look at the first episode, the first
true.
bit of story, to get the better perspective on what the general story will be like. Because
the earlier something is introduced, the later on it's
right, and
the more important it's going to be.
The pacing will definitely be slower than that, but I don't think it'll be much slower because the things that they can explore down there are vast. And the fact that they've made it so the white whistles go all the way down to the Sea of Corpses and potentially even further below, because that would be their last dive, that means that they could probably go all the way there by the end of this season.
Possibly.
And the end of the season will be them going past the maps. Actual recorded stuff.
Maybe that would be pretty insane.
That would be a lot of ground they would cover.
That would be a lot of ground. And one of the things that I thought was interesting with how this episode is handled is that it was both setting it up like it was a death of sorts, and it was also setting it up for like a if we ever see you again.
Right.
And you would think that since these characters have been around for the first 3 episodes, that they're not just going to disappear from the story, right?
But they could.
Right. But it would make you think from traditional storytelling convention that at some point they're going to come back from the abyss and be able to see everybody, right? The return from the hero's journey. I was thinking maybe even this season, but then again, with the kind of thing that the abyss is, probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, do you think they're going to do any kind of split story with the people up top?
I would say little to none.
But yeah, they could do a little bit, but probably not just because of how much time they have.
Yeah, I want there to be no split story. I want the story to be about discovery. I want there to be that heartbreaking feeling of moving on. The idea that they will find a spot in the abyss that could distract Riku entirely from actually wanting to go to the bottom because it's so gorgeous.
Sure.
It's so just magnetic and attractive. It's wonderful. And then, Reg is like, but weren't we going down? And she's like, but I want to stay here. It's like, nope, we got to keep going.
Yeah.
And it's the idea that once they get down deep enough, they might be like, but I liked it up there.
Right.
And now things aren't that great.
Mm-hmm. Right, because they're in any kind of hero's journey, really, there needs to be that idea that being like, yeah, adventure.
Right.
It's not
what you thought it was going to be.
In order to be an interesting story, there needs to be some conflict in there, and you probably won't like it, So that'll be especially interesting to see how they'll handle it since they're kids.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like one of the cool things that happened this episode with emphasizing the conflict and the fact that they're kids is that they still get treated like kids every once in a while. Kind of the idea that, like, oh, the kids up to their antics again. It's not treated as serious that they were wandering around at night.
Right.
So they're like, what can they do? They're kids. Mm-hmm. But, that was them getting away. So Leader, or whatever his actual name is probably going to feel a little bit like guilty because, he could have stopped them.
Right.
But I don't know. Like, here's a thought. Like, with this whole Abyss thing being said at that little end monologue here about holding the blessings and the curse, and life and death, and all of it.
Yeah. And the will of the Abyss.
Well, yeah. All those things, I think they tie mostly to the idea that human nature abhors the vacuum. The idea that there would be something where there would be unknown, like, empty space. We need to fill it with something, with a meaning. And basically,
we don't like what we don't understand.
Yeah, I think the phrase is originally nature abhors a vacuum. But in this case, I think it's the idea that humanity's curiosity hates the unknown and thus treats it like how nature abhors a vacuum and wants to fill it with all this meaning and purpose and stuff.
Makes sense.
What if the Abyss is kind of a nihilistic look on how the answers are not at all answers. They just lead to more questions, and all of it is meaningless. Okay. And that's where the craziness comes from for maybe some of these people.
Possibly.
Is that once they get down deep enough, they realize everything is just so confusing, and now I just have more questions, and now I'm going crazy because I don't know anything anymore.
I would say there is an important difference, though, between questions begetting questions and nihilism.
So. No, I agree, but that was I was saying. That was the questions begetting questions was the connecting point to that craziness that is being interpreted as craziness, but it's actually just a nihilistic thing of this is all meaningless, and now I'm just going to stay in the abyss. And
because the nihilism would come in when basically they blanket answer all the questions because they can't answer any of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And if they get into like nihilistic philosophical discussions and stuff in this show with a bunch of 12-year-olds,
remember, Jacob, this is anime. Impressed. The age of the people in this story does not matter.
Yeah.
It matters in like specific context, but it does not matter about the type of discussion you can have.
Right.
I think one of the things that a show like Madoka Magica and this have in common is the idea that you will end up having really big philosophical discussions. Probably in Made in Abyss, maybe on a different theme than Madoka
they'll
Magica
be executed differently.
Yes, exactly.
Because they're younger, but they'll still have them.
Right, but also I'm getting that vibe of the deeper, darker plot.
Yeah.
No pun intended with the Abyss part. Mm-hmm. Specifically from something like Madoka Magica.
Sure.
I'm drawing, like you were drawing like a Stranger Things and Attack on Titan connection. I'm drawing the Madoka
Magica too.
Yeah, I think we drew all those connections.
I mean, what was it? There was at some point in the show there was a little creature that looked straight up like a little cubie.
Yeah. I was like, Cubie, what are you doing in the Abyss?
We don't want to make contracts with you.
We'll screenshot it and like post it to Twitter or something because I thought that was really funny to kind of bring up and be like, wait, what? I see what you did there.
I can get you back up to the surface.
All I need to do is sign a contract. Oh man. I would say that this episode doesn't lend itself to too much discussion other than the map bits. And the idea that Nat's relationship is kind of a look at the loss of what Riku is going to experience later.
Nat's kind of the equivalent of the family that either tragically dies or is left behind when the hero goes to strike out on the hero's journey. And the fact that they're making a familial connection between Nat and Riku. Is it Rika or Riku? Rika. Yeah.
Rika or Riku?
Rika, I think. Yeah, Rika.
Yeah, I've been saying Riku, I think, this whole discussion video. Anyway.
But that's one really good because it allows the imagination to fill in the blanks of a bunch of stuff that's happened previously. And that's really unfortunate when shows will not treat the characters that already have established relationships as if they have a history that exists before the show.
Yeah.
So the fact that they did that is great, and it also like it made me care a lot more for Nat as a character.
Yeah.
Because the previous episode he kind of got sidelined a bit.
Right, and I mentioned that.
Yeah.
Shiggy was fantastic last episode, and poor Nat got shunted.
Yep.
Because Nat, I mean, they're 12, but he might have had a little bit of a crush on her or something like that.
I think so.
He's probably like, but she's my best friend.
Exactly.
Like, even if he doesn't have a crush on her, just the fact that your best friend is basically dying.
Right. This other person comes in, suddenly your best friend wants to go away forever and ever and never see you again. Yeah.
It's sad. Like, it's one of those things where, from a kid's perspective, even from these characters' perspective,
they handled it very well.
Well, they handled it very well, but also I don't really know how to describe it. I feel like they were actually helped along a lot by Reg in a way.
Yes,
because
he was that steady Eddie.
Well, yes, but he also was the one that suggested that she not leave things unresolved. He was the one that kind of made them feel okay a little bit with the idea of her going down because she's not going alone.
And that's really interesting that they had the robot give emotional and like connection advice.
Yeah, he is way more than a robot. That's all I'm going to say. This episode, if anything, taught us because of the internal thoughts that he's having, he's way more than just a robot.
Right. And you could theoretically chalk that up to just the fact that he's been with them for multiple months now. So, he's probably some learning machine, no pun intended, and was just able to sort of like by osmosis get all of that.
Sure, possibly.
But
no, I think some of it was that's a little bit of humanity coming through there.
Right.
It's the idea that when we think about him as a robot and stuff, if we actually like took apart his skin and stuff like that, we might see that he actually has some human stuff in there, and
sure, or
something else,
something. Who knows?
Yeah, because he feels very empathetic in terms of robot characters that are questioning their humanity and stuff like that. They're usually way less empathetic than...
Yes,
and
absolutely.
the fact that he's a kid doesn't really mean anything if he's a robot, if he's truly a robot.
Right.
Because it doesn't, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the fantastical element combined with the fact that he's having all these questions and he's doing things that are very empathetic makes us question, wait, what is he really?
How robot is he?
Yeah, how robot actually is he?
Yeah. But great episode.
Yeah, good episode. Good episode. I feel like it's going to get dwarfed in comparison by the coming episodes.
Probably.
It's one of those ones where you look at it in the context of just the immediate episode and you go, this episode was there to bridge into the next episode.
Sure.
Oh, man. Yeah. Like, once we get into the abyss, things are going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm excited for that. I would say the only... passing thing was I'm surprised the director wasn't in this episode.
Yeah.
It seemed like she was scary for almost no reason now, especially if they're...
I mean, it adds flavor to the world. And
it absolutely does.
So you don't...
It enforced the whole, please... I still haven't found out what that...
Oliver Twist?
Oliver Twist. Yeah. It enforced the Oliver Twist kind of setting of the...
Yeah.
And Victorian area schooling and stuff like that.
Yeah. Which is great to do. Like, it kept us wondering, like, what's actually going to happen. Like, so that if... It makes it so that basically if they wanted to have a split story, they could. They probably won't, and I'm absolutely fine with that. But it's the idea that the story, like, doesn't disappear just because the main protagonist is not there.
Well... we don't know, but we will find out in the next episode.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to watch that next episode, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon's early access. Get on that, get to see it a week ahead of everyone else, And also, it comes with Discord access. You can check out that, chat with us about storytelling or what have you. And yeah, we'll see you all there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.